Hi everyone, it's Liam here from Rating the Races. So it's the Paddy Power Gold Cup, the Greatwood Hurdle meeting at Cheltenham this weekend. And I've had a look through the entries for the two races. And there's two that really stand out to me. They've both got very similar profiles for the respective races. The first one I want to talk about is a horse called Spirit of the Games. I really like him for the Paddy Power Gold Cup. I know stablemate Protectorate is a favourite, but we've always got to be careful with those types of horses because they don't always do it on their first run in a handicap, and they're kind of saved and looked after because they think they can go on to bigger and better things, whereas Spirit of the Games can't. This is what he does. He runs in these handicaps. And I'll be very disappointed if he, A, doesn't turn up and B, doesn't run a very big race. He's running this year off 144. He finished second in this race last year off 148 and is actually £8 better off with the winner, Cool Cody, for that run. But if we look at Spirit of the Games at Cheltenham, he's finished 6th of 149 at the Cheltenham Festival. He's finished second of 146, second of 149, second, as I mentioned, of 148. He finished third of 147, and he pulled up first time out a couple of years ago. Interestingly, this year he's had a run. He had a run at, where was it? At Newbury. He finished 4th. That was over hurdles, so they looked after his chase mark. I think they really like him, and it wouldn't surprise me if he gets absolutely smashed up. It wouldn't surprise me totally if Protectorate even came out of the race if they thought Spirit of the Games was that well handicapped. I really like him. I think he's got lots going for him. There's no point looking after Spirit of the Games in this race where they might do with Protectorate. Spirit of the Games has to win one of these handicaps. This is a good one to win with a lot of prize money on offer. I think it's 90 grand this year for the winner. So Spirit of the Games at 20 to 1. I really like him for this race. The second race I want to talk about is the Greatwood Hurdle. And once again, I'm going to be picking the horse who finished second last year, Ballyandy. Ballyandy's form at Cheltenham. He's had 2 wins, 2 seconds, 3 thirds, 2 fourths, an 8th, and 2 pulled up. Both of his pulled up efforts came over 2 mile 5, which I don't think he stays, although he did finish third in a Coral Cup once. I think that was just his ability that managed to do that since he took on horses that were above him over that trip. He found it too far. So why do I like Ballyandy? Well, he was second last year off an £8 higher mark. He's had a run. Granted, it was a disappointing run. He finished 12th, I believe. He finished 10th at Fosslas. Okay, it was a disappointing run, but he's had the run. He should be fully fit. He also got beat last year by the shunter. Well, if the shunter turned up here, he'd be running off a £25 higher mark. So he'd actually be £33 wrong with Ballyandy for not beating him by far. If they turned up, the shunter would be 5 to 1, 6 to 1 because of his high handicap mark, and Ballyandy would still be 33 to 1. Well, that would be ridiculous. Again, this is a race that they might as well win with Ballyandy. There's no point holding him back. There's no point hiding, trying to keep his mark for something else. What's the point? This is a great race to win, and he's not good enough for Grade 1s anymore. I think both of those, Spirit of the Games and Ballyandy, are great selections at 20 to 1 and 33 to 1 respectively. And I do think they both had the prep run for these races in mind. One of the other points I wanted to say was, I posted that I'll be talking about this a little bit, why I prefer handicaps to graded races. First of all, I like to spot things in handicaps that you can lose a handicap and actually run eye-catchingly. Champagne World did, for example, at Chepstow. He pulled up, but I didn't give up on him, and he then won the next time at 20 to 1. Whereas those horses that run in graded races, they often, if they finish 4th, 5th, 6th, pull up, it's because they're not good enough and they don't ever win them. And it's the same horses that win the races over and over again, whereas the handicap is the exact reason you use a handicap to try and get them to all cross the line at the same time. It doesn't work. But a horse that may be too high in the handicap in January, come April, is actually nicely handicapped and can go on and win a race. And it's trying to spot those that are now well handicapped. Whereas, as I said, the graded races, it's the same horses that win them time and time again to a degree. And then obviously their prices are accounted for that. Whereas the well handicapped horses in handicaps don't often get priced up based on they are well handicapped. They get priced up on their previous form or their recent form. And sometimes you can find those bigger prices. You get those 14, 16, 20 to 1, 25, 33 to 1 winners by finding those types of horses. A couple of examples last year for us, Perfect Candidate, he was 14 and yet he won a handicap at Haylock because he was well handicapped at the time. Similarly, Vintage Clouds in the Ultima last year, I think he was 10 or 11, getting on, but he dropped to a nice mark back at a course that he loved. Same with Perfect Candidate, and hopefully Ballyandy and Spirit of the Games are two similar horses. They both like the course. They're both well handicapped, and I think they're both big prices and can certainly run big races. So they're my two for the handicaps, the two big handicaps. There's one other horse I want to talk about who's got an entry in the Juvenile Hurdle at the moment. It's Bellex1. Remember, we highlighted that race as a race to follow the one that he won last time out. So hopefully Bellex1 can follow in the footsteps of my mate Mozzie, who franked his race. I think it was the day after my mate Mozzie won. He obviously franked that yesterday. I imagine we'll see my mate Mozzie in the Royal Bond next. I think the last 5 winners of the race that my mate Mozzie won yesterday or Saturday. Was it yesterday or Saturday? I can't remember. The race that my mate Mozzie won, the last 5 winners all have ended up in the Royal Bond, and then most of them run at Cheltenham as well in the Supreme. So you're almost getting, just going back over my mate Mozzie, if you backed my mate Mozzie for the Supreme, they so often turn up, so at least you're likely to get a horse in the race, and if it can go and win the Royal Bond, it won't be 14s, it'll be 7s or shorter. And if the Irish have the best, and that's the best Irish, then we'll be in a great position. So that's just a few horses and a few things to think about, and why I like handicaps, and then I talk about the Supreme Novice. A little bit contradictory, but I do prefer the handicaps over the graded races.